It's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Da, 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 da,
This took way too long.
Hello and welcome to Goosebumps HorrorTown. This is part 0 to the event 28. Yes, finally, after what seems like an eternity, we're finally moving on to another update. And no time sooner, because this is a belated Valentine's Day update. Yes, again, this is basically egg monsters all over again, but what do you expect? I think holidays are no longer going to be appropriate thing now. It has to be basically whatever comes up with the stuff, but I digress. Anyways, as we usually do, I'm going to go ahead and tell you all you need to know about this update's based off of round and other interesting stuff that came around during this time. So first things first, the teases. So back in the end of February, we got a tease of this here, which says March is coming, which has Slappy says the following. Rumor has it that there will soon be an event that will profile our favorite books. Are you ready? Which seems to be pretty much the norm here. Then we move on to the next one, which is our next event is inspired by a very famous book of the saga. Want to guess what it is? Which Curly basically says this.
Did you know that Slappy wasn't always as scary as he seems? In fact, he was once involved in a love triangle. Oh, maybe you should wait to the next event to find it out.
Yeah, so then you got that. Then they decided to do a new hashtag horror story is coming, which is coming soon picture, which basically is a silhouette of somebody, but I will go ahead and tell you who it is later on in this video. And last but not least, we got this picture here, which is a new story is about to horrify us. Are you guys ready? Hashtag new teaser, which is it's coming, and it has 3 lockets of different kinds, but you don't know which it is. It's kind of silhouetting certain things, but yes, if you haven't guessed by now, with the theme of Valentine's Day and the whole love triangle thing and Slappy being involved, well, there's only one story that fits the bill, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is Bride of the Living Dummy. Yes, Bride of the Living Dummy is the next update we got going on here. And it is quite an interesting book, I'll say that much, especially because this was from the Series 2000s books. And the art by Tim Jacobus was actually very detailed, and they only zoomed in slightly. If you see this here, kind of get a good example. There's also this weird, blotchy, sketch drawing version of it, which is kind of interesting. And then there's 2 other sketch versions that would have been different. We got this one here with an ugly-looking Mary Ellen doll with the iconic Slappy that he's known to draw, and of course the other one, but basically it's just Mary Ellen, but weird. And then of course you got some weird ad stuff, like this was it was like from a website basically advertising it back near the 1990s. And of course the back of the book, which is like, she's not a toy, she's not your friend, she's an evil doll, and she's alive! You know, kind of thing like that. Now there's also different alternative covers to this thing, which I'm going to show off, which is unique. That being this one here, which is the newer one. This came during when the movie came out. And yeah, the art one's done was Brandon, if you can expect that. Then we got this one here, which is, I believe, might be, and I'm trying to see exactly where this is from, but it looks like this is Korean, so you get to see a Korean version of this, which is actually pretty decent. Like, you got Mary Ellen looking more like a dummy, and then of course you got this version, which is, I have no idea. But yeah, this is more of a realistic version of the things, but yeah, this is another version of it, so there you go with that. But now you might be curious, what is Bride of the Living Dummy all about? Well, I'm about to tell you. And, well, also, going to be showing you some screenshots of a TV series, because this was adapted into the TV series, which was interesting because this was one of the few newer books that came out during that time. So let's go ahead and talk about that. So, the story revolves around Jillian Zinman, which is a kind of a 12-year-old I think it's 12, I'm not 100% sure, but it's her story, and she's being harassed by her 2 6-year-old twin sisters, Katie and Amanda, who also has with them a life-size doll called Mary Ellen. They do things like basically harass her, try to cut her hair while she's sleeping, or do other mischievous things, and she always claims, "Oh, Mary Ellen told us to do it." Sure, of course, like usual. Well, anyways, at some point they wanted to go to a theater because there was a ventriloquist show going on at the time. So Jillian decided to have to bring her twin sisters, and begrudgingly Mary Ellen, and also her friend Harrison. So they ended up going, and it turns out the ventriloquist who's there is named Jimmy O. James. And oh, look who he has. It's our favorite dummy, Slappy. Yep, Slappy and him are basically in this whole thing. And there's a whole kerfuffle. Basically him insulting not only Jimmy, but also insulting everyone in the theater, which is a weird act, but okay. Jillian decided to go in backstage to try to talk to, Jimmy, only to see that Slappy slapped him. Yeah, I guess that's why he's called Slappy. But basically she sees this, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm just doing a new act, kind of thing." Like, because of course the dummy can't be alive, right? She doesn't know better. But anyways, things went on. They basically had some to kerfuffle, and then later on, out of nowhere, this usually changed a bit depending on what's going on here. In the books, I believe she finds Slappy in the dumpster because Jimmy just had enough with Slappy's crap and decided to throw him in the trash like where he belongs. In the episode, it was that Jimmy gave her Slappy as a gift, quote unquote gift. But yeah. But anyways, Jillian herself was actually wants to be like, he does this clown like performance for like kids parties kind of thing, like to make money or something like that. I'm not 100% sure on the whole subject matter, because again, I'm just trying to recall things because this has been so long ago and I don't even recall much about this. I'm just trying to look through here. But yeah, so then she's like, "Oh, you know what, let's try with Slappy," right? So kind of thing like that. So she tries with Slappy. Of course, Slappy's doing some weird stuff, but she doesn't know any better. And later on, weird, creepy things starts happening, like the fact that somehow the mirror goes, "I want my bride," and it's starting to imply that, oh no, they actually read the Slappy's word when she makes him alive, right? But Jillian's not having any of this. She thinks the twins are doing this to kind of mess with her, especially with having Pt.0, her pet lizard, in Slappy's mouth because, he was eating him. But, anything. A whole thing starts happening, and it's also to the point where basically she's having none of this. So she goes to try to find Jimmy O. James, but he's not there anymore. He left. So she's just trying all this type of stuff here. And I'm just trying to go through here, looking through Jimmy's diary that kind of talks about this whole thing, about Slappies and the whole stuff in that nature. But besides this, then we get closer to the conflict, and it's later revealed that everything that's been going on, sabotaging her wise, was actually being done by Mary Ellen. Yeah, she was alive this entire time, and the twins were telling the truth when they said that, they had no choice but to do the bad things because Mary Ellen told her to, or else they'd get in trouble or something of that nature, some vagueness thing. And it's revealed that she wanted Slappy to herself because he wants, because she wants him to be his love and whatnot, right? And at first, she thinks Slappy would do that, especially when bringing him awaking again, only to find out that Slappy didn't want her. She wanted Jillian. Okay. Oh boy. This book was considered to be controversial for a few different reasons, but I digress. Regardless of that, neither thing. By the way, they ended up making it worse in the TV show. It ended up being that they didn't have the twins, so they only had one of them, which is, I guess, Katie, I think it was. So Katie she's like, I want Katie. It's like, oh, good. So instead of the tween, you're going after the kid. So it's like, that's even worse. But anyways, Mary Ellen, being pissed that Slappy didn't want her, they decided to have a fight and kerfuffle. And I forgot to mention that Jillian's father was a wood carpenter, basically making different things. And mostly was his birdhouses, right? That's what he does. And so, while this was going on, they basically fell into the ground, and they basically fight, and they ended up getting themselves cut in half through the buzzsaw. So they ended up, dying, technically. I mean, they're puppets, or dummies, so they don't really die, but, they basically, their spirits are gone out of the whole thing. And here comes when the twist in this book is weird. So, it's later revealed that the spirits has to be in a persistent body. The reason why Slappy was considered to be, the spirit of Slappy was inside the doll. So once the doll is destroyed, the spirit has to go somewhere else. And then it's later revealed that basically Jillian throws up green vomit, and it's implied that Slappy's now in her, which is really, really creepy. And what's funny is the TV show kind of changes this, where it turns out, Jillian's friend Harrison, remember him? Yeah, he ended up getting possessed by Slappy, and it's hilarious because you get to hear his voice, Slappy's voice through him, and he gets Slappy's eyeballs. So this is weird, bug-eye looking kid here, and it's bizarre. I gotta love it, but yeah, there you go. This is the story they adapted, and it's pretty bizarre. I'm only giving you the clip notes of it. If the more details of it, it's kind of... But you get the gist of what's going on, right? That's the whole premise of it. But now let's go ahead and reveal who is being added into the game and the actual story of it with this patch notes. So let's go ahead and see this right now. So... Jillian is a teenager that tries to earn some extra money acting as a clown at birthday parties. She has two sisters, Katie and Amanda. They torture Jillian every day with pranks, and they have a doll called Mary Ellen that is with them all the time. It has something weird, and Jillian knows it. The truth comes to light once they come across Slappy, our friendly and evil dummy. New content. Story. 8 new event narratives. Character. Meet Jillian and her sisters, a cute family that have some lessons to learn about love. Monsters. Allow Mary Ellen, Katie, and Amanda to lurk in the town and scare the civilians. Items. Get the love blob, black rose, chocolate box, heart candy, and wedding cake. Decorations. Scare your town with love by placing the tunnel of painful love, chocolates, monster, teddy bear, and masked chirp statue. Animations. Eat some ice cream with Jillian, or do a nice juggling performance. Be careful, Slappy is a bit hungry too. Complete the event and collect creepy rewards. Oh, yes, you heard that correctly. As I hinted many times before, the character getting added is Jillian. Oh boy. If you read the story, if you've just heard my synopsis of the story, you can tell where this is going, and it's not pretty good. But they also introduced Mary Ellen, and she's an interesting design. Some people love it or hate it, both Jillian as well, I must say. So this is very not a well pleased. It's a bit cross-sided, or divided in a sense. And of course we have the twins, basically Katie and Amanda. So you get to see them in this next part as well, which is quite interesting indeed. But yes, that's the basic gist of this whole ordeal, and what you get to expect with this book update. So the question remains, have they adapted this book correctly in a success? Or, well, did they fall into the traps like Stein did and make this a little bit more controversial? Who knows? I guess we'll find out during my playthrough of this 3-part series. And would you know it, it's gonna be entertaining. Lots of memes to be had, oh boy. But until then, I'll see you in part 1. I've been Grim, and this was Goosebumps HorrorTown, Event 28th Reveal. Bride of the Living Dummy. See you soon.